Well, hello. Hashtag here again. This is something that I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about imposter syndrome. I listened to a podcast earlier today, and it does ring true with my experiences, and also having a conversation with a good friend earlier in the week. Um, it's something that is normal. So let's just go into a few basics. Um, you always get that. A lot of people get that imposter syndrome just before a race, just before a start a race, day before. Um, why am I here? Why did I even enter? Haven't done enough training. Um, Everybody else is going to beat me. And there's a lot of self talk that goes on. The reason I say self talk is the question I was asked many years ago was who talks to you the most out of all your friends? And I said a name, and the answer back was, no, you do, because we talk to ourselves, even though we don't realize it, we talk to ourselves on a daily basis, on an hourly basis, every minute. So, we need to be good at this. So let's have a look. Um, I think when it comes to imposter syndrome, there's an element of self doubt. Um, I would say that it's not just on the day; it's actually it's continuous. It's quite chronic. Um, there's some people experience feelings of being found out, that they weren't good enough. So yeah, that's always troublesome. Um, and like me, I'm going to put my hand up on this one. I'm about downplaying my successes. I've done well, but I always, in the back of my mind, go, nah, could do better. So that's one form of imposter syndrome as well. Um, Also, something I do sometimes is overworking to compensate, um, to avoid being perceived as not very good. Um, so there. I have difficulty receiving praise um, and compliments. It's just, yeah, I'm not going to shrug my shoulders, but it is one of those things. And also, the danger is to compare yourself badly with others. Now, there's an author out there, Dr. Valerie Young. She kind of puts it into five pieces, five imposter syndrome types of imposter syndrome, and you might relate to this. There's the perfectionist, who thinks that if things aren't being done perfectly, then it's a failure. There's the expert. Also, if they haven't studied and they don't know everything before they start, then they just won't start. There's also what they call a soloist. They're the person who refrains from asking for help because as soon as they ask for help, they feel like they're incompetent and they don't know what they're doing. Um, and there's also the natural genius. Um, Along the lines of, excuse my French, excuse me moving my hand, um, feels shame if it's not easy. Um, and a super person who pushes harder and harder and harder, more than anybody else, to prove their worth. So you might relate to those. Let's look at ways of dealing with it. Number one, you need to name it, acknowledge it. Okay, um, you need to look at what you're experiencing and name it and actually say what's going on here. This is what I'm trying to do, and by naming it, you're on the first step to breaking its power over you. Um, Also, reframing your thoughts, your self talk. Rather than "I don't belong here. What the hell am I doing?" You could say everyone has moments of doubts. It is human nature. So yeah, um, and you can challenge yourself when you have these negative self talks. You can challenge yourself and say, "Well, no, I've done so much to get here on this start line. I've done this session and that session, and I am fit enough." So look at the process and look at how far you've come to actually get to that start line. Leading to that, you can track your achievements and remind yourself of actually your competence of what you can do. Also, which is what I'm doing now, is you talk about it. And by talking about it with friends, colleagues, trusted friends and colleagues. It helps normalize the experience. Um, Avoid perfectionism. It's not about being perfect. It's about just following the process. And progression is key. It's not about being perfect. We all make mistakes, and mistakes are perfectly normal. And you need that. You need a mistake for growth. Realistic expectations. Be realistic to yourself. The smart path. If you're in business, you know that, or if you're in fitness, you know that. You've got to be realistic. And to accept praise. When someone says you did well, just say thank you. Don't play it down. Just say thank you and move on. Okay. If it's really bothering you, then you would best seek support, coaching, mentoring. I would say psychotherapists, cognitive behavior therapists are really good at dealing with that if it's become an issue. Also about visualizing success as well. And a key thing which I'm going to add on the end there is how about mentoring others? Something I've learned as being a coach, that by mentoring, I'm realizing that perhaps I should use that same kind of self talk. So that leads me to my next point, which is my self talk. As he swaps it around for my prompts, yes, I am being prompted on the computer. Again, we talk to ourselves every single minute of the day. Now, I think the key with this one is it your friend or is it your enemy? Most of the time, it can be your enemy. That negative self talk is just in your ear all the time, saying that you can't do it. Now, let's just suggest this. If it was a friend, a good friend who you know, who's also doing the same sport, or it's a team member, would you talk to them the same way that you talk to yourself? And I'd chance that the answer might be no. So that's actually quite an important point, and I think you need to understand that. Like, instead of making mistakes, you can say, "I've handled tough times before. I can do this." It's a good example. Or it's okay to make mistakes. I'll learn and improve. So a growth mindset. And if you make a mistake, it says this doesn't define me. I make mistakes and I'm growing every day. The benefits: good self talk, self esteem, naturally, reduces stress and anxiety. Of course, it does. Improves your performance and focus. It's been proved that cyclists, I read a study earlier today, cyclists who did a lot of positive self talk, think about process. It's all about process, not about the outcome, not about the result, but all about process. Actually, did better than those who just concentrated on winning. And also, it helps with problem solving and resilience when things go tough. From a negative perspective, we all get it. I'm going to mess this up. Everybody's better than me. I never get things right. Sounds very teenagery, and psychotherapists would say that it's kind of a teenage approach. What's the point? Everything goes wrong. The consequences of which is obviously the opposite: lowers the confidence, increases anxiety and depression, procrastination, burnout, and it reinforces your limitations, which is not good. I suppose the key thing here is to catch it early. Notice when you're slipping into those patterns. Awareness is key. It's about what I call a helicopter view, standing back and actually saying, what on earth is going on? This is what I'm doing. Stop it. Like, it's not to say it's wrong, but it's just stop it because it's not helping. Again, what I said earlier, would you say this to a friend? Okay, use the same compassion and encouragement and support that you would for a friend or a teammate. Reframe the messaging. Turn "I can't do this" to "this is hard and I'm figuring it out." Okay. Use affirmations. I'm capable. I'm learning. I deserve to be here. Make it believable and relevant. It's not like you're trying to trick yourself. It's basically you're reinforcing your training, your process, and actually what got you to that start line. You deserve to be on that start line. Also, practice gratitude. Try not to shift your focus away from. Try and shift your focus away from failure and insecurity towards progress and growth. So yes, um, it's a critic, and acknowledge that it is your critic at times, but also self talk can be used to actually perform better in the long run. Um, yeah, that's it from me, really. Yeah, imposter syndrome, it's normal, it's human, it's what being human. Just a quick one here. Um, the hormone that you produce when you're anxious is similar, if not the same, to excitement. So when you get to events, big events, and they can feel a little bit overwhelming, um, you could be producing those excitement hormones and not those anxiousness hormones. You've just perceived it as anxiousness hormones. So just beware of that. And most people feel anxious at races because they don't normally um, exercise, train, race with that many people around them and that kind of scope. Um, Most people do it on their own. They do it in a small group. And as soon as you turn up to these big events and everybody's doing the same thing, it's a little bit overwhelming. It's not impossible. It's just the surroundings, the environment that you're in is a little bit different to the norm. So just bear that in mind as well. Um, that's about it from me. Any questions? I'm sure I've opened a can of worms here when it comes to imposter syndrome and self talk. If you have any questions, just DM me and I can continue this conversation direct with you. Or if you want me to make it as another video, please ask. Okay, ciao, ciao for now. Let's crack on.